that we will have more people doing Iftar here today than ever before. We think we're going to break the record for the biggest Iftar, not just in London, not just in UK, not just in Europe, but in the Western world.
I think we're sleepwalking into becoming an Islamic Republic.
Within the space of, let's say, a child born today, within that child's lifetime, the historic majority in this country will simply no longer be a majority. If you don't have a clear majority group, you don't really have a nation. When you actually look at where we're going to be as early as, say, 2050, which is not really that far away, a lot of what we consider to be Britain and England will not really look like Britain and England.
London has been conquered. No video makes that clearer than the one I'm about to show you. As HJB News reported, in 1945, in London's Trafalgar Square, the British celebrated VE Day, Victory in Europe over Germany. 81 years on, that's one man's lifetime. It is now under Muslim occupation. That's in less than a century. Let that sink in. And just look at this split screen vision. Look at what's changed in 8 decades. Last night, London's Islamist Mayor Sadiq Khan turned what was once the heart of England, the heart of our United Kingdom, into the new home of Islamism. And this wasn't just about Muslim pride. This was a clear display of domination. Yes, London tonight, a plan decades in the making. Watch.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا محمد الوصية.
So that forceful takeover of Trafalgar Square is the culmination of 10 years of Khan plotting his now successful Islamist takeover. Last night, he openly boasted about the UK capital city hosting the biggest Iftar in the world.
Assalamu alaikum. I've come to say thank you. I know you've done Iftars in Brighton and Birmingham and Bradford and Blackburn and Cambridge and Glasgow. We saved the best till last, right? we think that we will have more people doing Iftar here today than ever before. We think we're going to break the record for the biggest Iftar, not just in London, not just in UK, not just in Europe, but in the Western world. And it only happens because we've got great volunteers like you working for Ramadan 10 projects. So, subhanallah, jazakallah khair, and thank you very, very, very much. So, give yourselves a round of applause. Now, I want to take a photograph with the best volunteers in the world. So, are you ready? Yeah! Even you at the back, Uncle, are you ready? Yeah!
Guys, can we all take a step back, please? Can we take a step back?
Oh, it's all fun and games, isn't it? He then posted along with 4 pictures which showed virtually no white faces at all. Community isn't just where we live, it's how we look after one another. Tonight, people of all faiths, races and backgrounds came together in the heart of our capital to break their fasts at Ramadan tent project's open Iftar. There's always a place at the table in this city. Khan then joined the prayers himself. And he wasn't done yet. Khan then got up on stage and lied, ludicrously suggesting that it's Islamism in the United Kingdom that is at threat, when it is actually Christians running scared. As this viral video of Sadiq's speech, juxtaposed with a man being attacked for burning the Quran, makes abundantly clear. Watch.
It is difficult to be a Muslim in 2026.
Look here, look.
Go for me.
Look. God, he's got a knife.
Whether you're in London, in other parts of the UK, in Europe, or across the world.
Go.
Fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. You burn the Quran.
God, he's got a knife as well.
No.
Oh, you got a knife, man.
Trying to cower us and scare us to be less Muslim, to be less Islamic, to make us scared, to put our head above the parapet.
Man,
fucking idiot.
Hey, don't come to me.
Go for me.
Listen, I'm just filming, yeah?
Burn the Quran.
No, you shouldn't be. Listen.
My religion. My religion.
No wonder there is now a transatlantic demand to save our country, with Tim Pool pleading, we need regime change in the UK. The rage over last night's Trafalgar Square Islamist takeover has been widespread, but completely ignored in the MSM. Olamini Hain of Restore Britain posted, there are approximately 500 mosques in London. There is zero reason this should be happening in Trafalgar Square. This is not Islamabad. From Tommy Robinson, they called Sir Jim Ratcliffe racist. They never called him wrong. Raheem J. Kassan pondered, this is London tonight. Trafalgar Square, no less, an area dating back to 1200 AD and named for the epic British victory in 1805, where the statue of Nelson stands 170 foot high. Tonight he's wondering how the hell England was conquered. But Lee Kern urged, this is designed to intimidate you. Don't let it. There is no need for public worship like this, but they do it to try and Islamize public spaces and create the illusion of inevitability. Don't let it work. Resist the encroachment of Islamic theocracy. And the most senior politician to weigh in, and congratulations to him for doing so, was the Conservative Shadow Justice Secretary Nick Timothy. He wrote, too many are too polite to say this, but mass ritual prayer in public places is an act of domination. The Adhan, which declares there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger, is when called in a public place, a declaration of domination. Perform these rituals in mosques if you wish, but they are not welcome in our public places and shared institutions. And given their explicit repudiation of Christianity, they certainly do not belong in our churches and cathedrals. I am not suggesting everybody at Trafalgar Square last night is an Islamist, but the domination of public places is straight from the Islamist playbook. Trafalgar Square belongs to all of us. It is a national memorial to our independence and our salvation. Last night was not like a televised football match or a St. Patrick's Day celebration. It was an act of domination and therefore division. It shouldn't happen again. Perhaps Kelly J. Keane echoed most of our feelings, though, in just three words. I'm utterly disgusted. But what happened in Trafalgar Square is indicative of a much bigger plan that few talk about. But I do here because it is by far the most important issue we are facing. Sometimes, though, I get a sense that the dam is close to bursting. With Trevor Kavanagh You know, the Sun's longtime political editor, a mainstream media figure for decades, a man incredibly close to Rupert Murdoch, now admitting publicly that we are sleepwalking into becoming an Islamic Republic.
Serious and present danger. And it beggars belief that we are simply standing back and wringing our hands, and you and I are talking about it and nothing is being done.
Final question, which I asked somebody this morning and they fell off their chair. Are we sleepwalking into becoming Nazi Germany, Trevor Kavanagh?
No, I don't think we are. I think we're sleepwalking into becoming an Islamic Republic.
He's right. John Cleese too. And this is interesting because, you know, in so many ways, he is a major leftist. But the Fawlty Towers legend is another prepared to start saying the previously unthinkable. Writing on X, the UK has always been based at the deepest level on Christian values, regardless of dogma. Despite the many mistakes made by churches for centuries, British people have been influenced by Christ's teaching. If these values are replaced by Islamic ones, this will not be Britain anymore. And he described, this is John Cleese, described as absolutely insane, this viral video of an English woman seemingly being arrested for challenging an Islamist takeover in public. Watch this. We are on a mission to 700,000 subscribers. So I need you to do something for me right now. It is free. It is easy. It is simple. Just hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's because over 50% of you watching this video haven't done that yet. And it is the best way to support Outspoken. We're totally independent, by the way. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all our new videos.
We're in England. It's a Christian country. I don't want to hear anything about the Quran. All Christian church.
And those angels apportioning each one. Indeed, what you are promised is true. And indeed.
Take her away. Take her away. Bruh. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. We do.
The problem is, there is so much with Islam that just doesn't fit with our culture, as Muhammad Hijab makes abundantly clear here.
We would say that, well, if you were to be intimate with a 14-year-old or 13-year-old who's got huge hips and huge breasts and huge body, I mean, quite frankly, we would say it's not going to have the same effect medically. I mean, no one can make the argument. But in these countries where we live in now, one is legal and one is illegal. So, in other words, you can't marry a 100-year-old woman, but you can marry that girl that's you can't be. You're a pedophile if you go for the girl that's got the hips. And once again, pedophilia is very relative.
Yeah, you are a paedophile if you're going for the 13-year-old girl, mate. John Cleese described him as a very articulate savage. Yet our Labour leaders with suicidal empathy ignore the facts about terrorism, and Islamist terrorism specifically, to claim that an invisible far right provides a greater threat, like Dawn Butler in this new parliamentary battle with Katie Lamb.
There's a far greater threat from the far right than there is from Islam. And, in this holy month of Ramadan, I'm sure Muslims all over the country will be praying for her soul, whether she deserves it or not.
The single biggest extremist threat to our country remains the threat of extremist Islamist violence. That threat is intimately tied up with a growing tendency towards sectarian politics.
The stats don't lie. But then there's Labour's Asmana Begum, suggesting that the real danger to Britain's girls is not the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs, but rather Reform UK and the so-called far right talking about that scourge.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Domestic Abuse and Violence, I'm delighted to be working with Women's Aid to ensure that no survivor is left behind. As we approach the 5th anniversary of the landmark Domestic Abuse Act 2021 next month, this could not be more important. Because we know in the woke sector that the weaponisation of violence against women and girls by far-right groups and political parties such as Reform harms survivors and ultimately impedes the real work of tackling the root causes of society-wide violence to the detriment of women and girls. It's resulted in women fleeing persecution abroad, facing even more danger here, including the targeting of them at hotels over the past year.
Tommy Robinson responded, Muslim MP Asmana Begum in Parliament, women fleeing persecution abroad face even more danger in the UK because of far-right groups. You've just answered your own question in your ridiculous statement, he said. Go home. Losing Gorton and Denton by-election candidate Matt Goodwin of Reform UK is proposing the start of a national conversation about the fact that the white majority of this country is about to become a minority, which he says means we will soon no longer have an identifiable nation at all.
Well, the first thing to say, you've been ahead of the curve for a long time in the debate. Unfortunately, many people in Westminster haven't been. What we're really talking about here is within the space of, let's say, a child born today, within that child's lifetime, the historic majority in this country will simply no longer be a majority by the time that child turns about 30, 40 years of age.
Why does that matter?
Well, it matters because in some ways it's not really about race. Lots of people from minority backgrounds also care about the majority group. That's why, for example, 1 in 3 black and minority ethnic voters voted for Brexit, because they too care about the culture and the demography of our country. Look, what's going to happen is over the next 74 years, as we go from 73% white British to 33% white British, we are going to end up in the same group of countries like Lebanon and Sierra Leone in not having a clearly identifiable majority group. Now, people watching this online or listening to it might say, well, what's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is if you don't have a clear majority group, you don't really have a nation. You don't have an identifiable core of that nation. And I'm basically releasing this book, and I'm sure there'll be a strong reaction to it and a lot of hostility from the usual figures on the left. But nobody's actually explaining to the British people what is happening around them and the pace at which it is happening around them. When you actually look at where we're going to be as early as, say, 2050, which is not really that far away, a lot of what we consider to be Britain and England will not really look like Britain and England in a meaningful sense.
So multiculturalism has failed, something most of us can agree on, but Goodwin argues the problem is there's no successor.
What I'm saying we need to do is actually get to a different policy approach, which is assimilation, which is you either assimilate into who we are by speaking our language, by contributing to the economy, by respecting our rule of law, by embracing our culture, or you leave. It is that simple because, you know, remember, David Cameron said in 2010, multiculturalism has failed. So did Angela Merkel and so did Nicolas Sarkozy. Here we are 16 years later and nobody yet has figured out what the successor is to multiculturalism. What is going to come after that failed policy framework? And what I'm saying is enough of all the bland talk about diversity and all of that stuff. Let's just start moving now into assimilation, which is if you live in Britain, you integrate into Britain.
No more translation services.
No more Sharia courts, no more cousin marriage, no more translation services, no more separate communities, none of that. We are now going to focus on assimilation, right? Which is you learn the language, you contribute financially, you don't live on welfare, you don't live on social housing, and you become part of who we are.
Okay. Yet Tommy Robinson doubts Goodwin and Reform are going to lead on this, asking how will you stop the Islamisation of our country with Muslims at the helm of your party? And what Goodwin says might be all well and good, but remember, He's arguing that Reform UK will reverse this. And that's where I split with him. After all, this is Reform's new housing and infrastructure spokesman, Simon Dudley. Watch.
Salam alaikum. I am Simon Dudley. I'm the leader of the Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead. What I, as the leader of the council, and people like Gertch, as hopefully a future councillor, and the whole Conservative group guarantee to you is that as the town develops, we will make sure you have the space to expand here. We had thought that we might build apartments, flats. We will never do that. That is my undertaking to you as the leader, the Conservative leader of the Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead. When we have control of that site, we will allow the Islamic Trust to acquire that site so that you can expand here.
Susan Hall, Sadiq Khan's rival in London, says now is the time to fight. Fight because it's not just Labour, it's the increasingly Islamist Green Party, which is now pledging to dismantle the Church of England.
Well, I'm really sorry to say, but I think we're going to have to start fighting for our culture and our heritage. The Greens apparently, if they win a general election, would actually drop the Church of England as Britain's established church. I mean, whatever next. The Greens are no longer the tree huggers, the environmentalists. In my view, they're very dangerous. We value our country as it is, the majority of us. We would not put leaflets out for different parties in Urdu. We would not pander to certain communities. We should all be living together harmoniously. And I'm afraid there are some parties that are making this very difficult. Sectarian politics is not where we should be. So I beg of you, all of you in May that can vote, go out and vote. All of you, do your bit. We have got to retain our culture. I, as a Conservative, am passionate about our royal family, about our culture as it is. We must welcome other people where we can, but we have to look after our own first. Things are getting so bad in this country.
They are. And it's everywhere. Schools in Britain now closing for Eid Mubarak, an Islamic festival that has absolutely nothing to do with British culture or identity. Watch this.
Good morning, families. This is just a very quick message from myself this morning to say that, as you know, we are closed on Thursday, Friday this week. So it's a 3-day week for us at Miriam Law Primary School. We are closed this week so that all of our families who celebrate can be celebrating Eid. And I just wanted to say on behalf of governors, trust members and staff at Miriam Law Primary School, Eid Mubarak on behalf of us all at Miriam Law for when the time comes this week. And we hope you enjoy the celebrations.
What are we doing? Last night was proof that London has been conquered, but the Islamist takeover of the United Kingdom is now well on the way. We must fight it. Now, the Superstar panel. But first, the #1 worst fruit for your waistline. Are you turning healthy fruits into highly unhealthy fruits without even realizing it? Fruit can be one of the healthiest things you can put into your body, but the majority of Americans are guilty of making this single mistake that can counteract all of the health benefits of fruit. Some fruits help with occasional constipation, reduce bloating, and even help burn calories. Others can wreak havoc on your digestive system and energy levels. I came across this viral presentation from world-renowned surgeon Dr. Stephen Gundry that showcases the 3 fruits to stop eating today. And it was shocking. I had no idea. And after finding it out, I've stopped eating these too. I'm going to put a link for you all to watch it because I want you to gain this information. I think it's truly important. You can watch it right now at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. That's thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. I also linked it in the description box below the video too, so make sure to click on it or just go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Oh, and by the way, Eliminating these fruits could forever change the way we help increase energy levels, decrease brain fog, support digestion, and even lose weight. So make sure to click below or go to thehealthyfat.com/outspoken to find out now. Dr. Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone, his health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. It's linked at the bottom of this video, but he'll teach you exactly how he has kept his weight off for free at thehealthyfat.com/outspoken. Just click on the link in the description below the video. But now, back to the show. So great to have Elizabeth Fox and Leilani Dowding back with me today. Leilani, what did you make of those scenes in Trafalgar Square?
You know, it is shocking. And I think the problem is I've seen a lot of Christian preachers getting arrested for preaching the Bible or speaking, just even if it's one or two of them speaking out and preaching on the street because somebody's been offended. So to see that, given the hundreds of mosques around the country, was actually very surprising. And I don't know how, I don't know how we counteract it. I mean, the Christians need to come out and get together, I suppose, and do the same thing, because if they're not going to stop it, we need to, see the Christians come out, have a hymn service, do something big and put a public display on, or go old-fashioned and get the old sun fun topless bus up out there and play a bit of music and dance around in a few bikinis like the old British fun way.
Exactly, that's what we need. Something that actually says we're diametrically opposed to your kneecap-driven culture.
I mean, I'm not going to do the page 3 thing again, but I'll shove on a Union Jack bikini and have a little jingle on the top of a top. And when I'm saying topless, I mean topless bus, the old British topless bus in a bikini. I'm sure Lizzie would look great on one too.
Elizabeth, what did you make of those scenes? And specifically, Sadiq Khan seeming to goad the native population.
Well, I mean, he's been doing it a while, hasn't he? And I think it's, personally, my opinion is that it's quite scary. I agree with Susan Hall fully that we need to fight for our culture and our values and our traditions, because ultimately this is a Christian country. And when I see the videos and I see the likes of Sadiq Khan standing there and promoting multiculturalism and saying how diversity is our greatest strength, I don't think, David Cameron 16 years ago stated that it's failed. That was 16 years ago, and here we are now. I think it's suicidal empathy. I really do. I just find it scary, because if we were to go over to an Islamic country and we were to do it the exact same and promoting our ideals and our beliefs in their town squares and their monumental places, I think that we would be not welcomed and permitted and accommodated so widely as they have been here.
In the past hour, breaking right now, Donald Trump has slammed slippery Starmer again during an extraordinary press conference in the Oval Office alongside the Irish Prime Minister on St. Patrick's Day. That's why he's in the green tie. I want to show you two key moments from this. First, Trump says that the special relationship was great until Keir came along.
Go ahead, please.
Keir Starmer isn't making...
She's a fantastic reporter, by the way. Go ahead.
Thank you. The Prime Minister isn't making the case to the British public as to why he should be supporting you. Could you do that now and talk to the UK and to GB News viewers about why it's in their interest that we help you?
Well, because we have a tremendous long-term relationship with the UK. I mean, people would say it's the best. I don't want to get into that, but we've had, it was the longest, the oldest, should be the best, always was the best until Keir came along.
And that was a great question from Bev Turner, the best GB News has got. But Trump wasn't done then because he wanted to make a visual point about that bust, the bust that you saw over his shoulder of Winston Churchill. Watch this.
You see that man right there? You know who that is? Churchill. Winston Churchill. The late, great Winston Churchill. And Barack Hussein Obama did not want his bust in this office. Did you know that? And Barack Hussein Obama sent that bust back to England. They didn't want it. And when I came in, I was asked if I wanted it. I said, absolutely, I want it. And I put it right there, Winston Churchill. And, you know, unfortunately, Keir is not Winston Churchill.
Now, this is interesting because Leilani Dowding, you have turned on Trump over this war. So I'm going to come to you in just one moment, actually, because I want to speak to you about that. But Elizabeth, what did you make first about the way that Trump is just constantly going for Starmer? I think it's great, personally.
I do too. I think the one thing I really love about Trump is that he's very candid. He always has been, and he just says what he feels. And I think that that's why a lot of people voted for him and believed in him, because he just would call things out, which was refreshing, because normally they're quite stiff and, you know, narcissistic, these leaders, but he's always, you know, just been very candid. So yeah, I mean, I liked Trump. I have sort of mixed feelings about a lot of things going on in the world right now, but yeah, I've always appreciated and enjoyed his entertainment when he speaks. And with regards to Starmer, I don't think Trump likes Starmer. I think we all know fully well that he doesn't. And I think that he is frustrated with him. And I think that he just wants rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, Leilani, before I come to you on this, I wanted to show you the resignation letter from Joseph Kent, who is the director of the National Counterterrorism Center in America, arguing and echoing, I guess, much of what you have been saying over the past few days. He said that he is resigning because Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. And it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. He says, as a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives. I pray that you will reflect upon what we are doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. But when he was presented with that letter, Leilani, in this Oval Office press conference in the past hour, Trump was absolutely certain that Joseph Kent has got this wrong and that Iran did pose an imminent threat. And indeed, he even said to the Irishman in the room that those nuclear weapons could have been heading towards us.
You know, it's a really hard one, Dan, and I feel like hell is almost frozen over because I have gone against Trump on this. And, you know, as far as Starmer goes, a broken clock can be wrong twice a day. And, you know, I'm glad he's taken pause about sending our men and women over to fight this absolute, complete and utter mess. But regarding, you know, what he said, he is the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. So I think he would know, you know, he works under Tulsi Gabbard. I'm sure he's privy to a lot of intel. What I keep going back to is the fact that Donald Trump changes his story hour by hour. 1 minute he doesn't need our help, he's winning. He was winning the first hour, he's won 14 times or 100 times since. Then the next minute he's like, we need help from people. Then he's like, actually, we don't need help. I just wanted to see their reaction. So it's almost like he's just making things up as he goes along, and you can't believe what's coming out of his mouth. Now, I didn't support him for the person he is. I supported him based on his policies, which was that he was going to bring peace to Ukraine and Russia within the first month. That's what he bragged, or maybe it was the first week. Didn't do that. No one has been arrested over the Epstein files in the USA. They have in the UK, not in the USA. You know, what about the Doge that Elon Musk sorted out? Nothing's happened. So there's a lot of things, and it's been building up and building up. And he was meant to be the peace president and the anti-war president. And I feel like I got sucked in and I got duped by it all. And honestly, I think I'm going to get more negative comments in your thing than June Slater did, backing Nigel Farage for so long and Reform. But you know, it's going to come. But that's, you know, the way I feel. And I think it's a mess. And, you know, one minute he says he knew that Iran would go crazy and blow everyone up. And then next thing he says, you know, this is the last thing was, this is a real shock. It was unexpected. Meanwhile, I just keep going back to the fact that Charlie Kirk warned about this 3 months before he died. He said that, you know, Trump wants to think they're all cavemen in Iran. But, you know, Charlie Kirk did warn that they're very intelligent, you've got a very high IQ, and they have been strategizing this out. They are an underdog in terms of power. So all they've had to do, however long it's been, is strategize on how to win this. And they are playing a very strategic chess game that, you know, he claims he doesn't know, but why isn't the USA war gaming it out? Anyway,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm looking at a couple of comments in the live chat now. Viper44 says he's not Santa love. War issues are difficult. Tissy28 says he's not asking for help. He is telling us to look after our own. Why is that so difficult to grasp? I mean, the one thing I would say is that Slippery Starmer is a total hypocrite when it comes to this issue. Yeah. He's been all over fucking Zelensky again today, hugging him outside the Oval Office. And look at this post. Look at this post from him on X. This is just in the past few minutes. The Middle East conflict has increased the need for rapid military innovation. It's central to our national and economic security. Today, we've signed a new defence partnership between Ukraine and the UK, strengthening Ukraine's ability to defend itself from Russia's brutal attacks and ensuring the UK and our allies are prepared to meet the threats of the future. Great to see you again, my friend. So it's like he is absolutely prepared to keep pouring money into Ukraine, a war that I think Trump is right, should never have been started. So I think Starmer is all over the place on this issue.
And Dad, I want to say as well that, you know, we have to look after Britain. But, you know, I say look after Britain, not elsewhere. But he's doing neither. So he's not helping out the Straits of Hormuz, but he's also not helping the UK, because what we need to do is close our own damn borders, and we need to stop funding these people's houses and hotels and food and everything else, and just allowing them to come over here. So if there's going to be any terrorist threats by sleeper cells, if anything like that's going to happen, that is going to be from our government's own doing, allowing these men to come into this country and housing and feeding them. And that has to stop. And I want to be very clear that I am UK first, and I am all about sorting this country out, sorting our own business out, sorting our own homes out. Let's sort this country out, and you know, as part of it. But Starmer also isn't doing that. So he's just, to me, he's always going to be pathetic. I can't stand the guy. I don't care that Trump had a go at him. I don't think he's doing it in any noble kind of way, because he won't sort out this country and he doesn't actually care.
Dan Wootton Outspoken is your no-spin, no-bias, no-censorship outlet for independent news. We have no big tech backing or billionaires pulling my strings, but that does mean I need your support. So please hit subscribe on YouTube, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to Dan Wootton Outspoken on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's totally free, but allows me to continue my promise to always keep fighting for you.